On 10, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Padres versus Mets pregame show. I'm your host, Ben Fadden. Today is July 24th, 2022. Padres taking on the Mets tonight. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Right now, I'm in Minnesota, and so that's why I don't have the regular backdrop right now. But I'm still wanted to do the pregame show, still wanted to get it out there. Joe Musgrove's on the mound for the Padres tonight, and the Mets will have Carlos Carrasco out there. It's on ESPN and 97.3 The Fan. 4:08, I believe, is the first pitch. So, stay tuned for that. That's in a couple hours. If you want to be a part of the show through a voicemail, 619-335-55. Excuse me. Let me repeat that. 619-335-5770 is the voicemail number. If you want to be a part of the show, just dial up that number and leave a voice message, and I'll play it on the next episode, probably tonight. If you have any thoughts on this Met series, probably tonight is when I would be playing those, if anyone decides to call in. The Padres enter today's game 54-42. The Mets are 58-37. Hopefully you guys can hear me live here. You guys can hear me good because I don't have my mic or anything. It's just regular old me talking into the computer. So let me know if you can't hear me ever. Just going through the chat here real quick. Let's get this sweep. Hopefully we get Joe some run support. We need to get Myers back. We need those clutch 1-for-4 timely hits. Yeah, and they've had some timely hits these last two games in the series. That's the good news, right? In game one, you had the Hosmer and Grisham home runs. And then yesterday, you had Manny's 2-run home run with Blake Snell pitching amazing. I know he only went 5 innings, but it wasn't like amazing in the sense that he threw like a perfect game, right? But it was amazing in the sense that he didn't, give up a lot of runs, and he got out of those runners in scoring position situations that he put himself into sometimes. I know the umpire was squeezing him a little bit, but it was encouraging to see that from him. I was kind of surprised that they didn't throw him out there for the 6th, just knowing how many relievers they would have had to use, or that they were going to have to use last night. They ended up using 4 guys. Adrian Morejon pitched amazing. And then Rogers, he'll probably be down tonight. We can move right into the bullpen situation. I mean, the 2 guys I would think would definitely be not pitching tonight or not be available. Taylor Rogers, 15 pitches in game 1 of this series, and then 28 pitches last night. And then Adrian Morejon, 24 pitches last night. I don't think that there's a need to use him when you have Tim Hill available, Luis Garcia available, Chris Matt, Martinez, maybe. And then Wilson and Gore, they still have not thrown yet either. So that's one of my what to watch fors as well. In this game is, do the Padres end up going with Mackenzie Gore at some point? Because he has not pitched after the All-Star break, and obviously last Sunday that is, Pecco, his last time out before the All-Star break, he didn't have much command, him and Steven Wilson. So will they go to them in a national televised game? I don't think the Padres care that it's nationally televised, but how will they do tonight on a Sunday night game? The Padres aren't really used to playing Sunday night games, and they're on the East Coast. What will their approach be with the bullpen? That's something I would look at tonight. If you missed it yesterday, I also talked about Will Myers a little bit. He could join the team in Detroit. Just a little tidbit there before we talk about the pitching matchup tonight. Myers could join the team in Detroit starting tomorrow, I think. That's what I believe AC said yesterday. And then we discussed this trade yesterday. The Padres, it came out yesterday that they have been discussing a trade with Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras going to the Padres. They've at least discussed maybe what would have to happen there. So that's kind of what we got going with some Padres news and notes. The Musgrove extension hasn't been reached yet. Musgrove, told the media, I think it was on Friday night, he said that, when the timing is right, they'll reach the extension. That's when they'll do it. And he felt like it will come at the right time. That's what he said. He literally said it will come, and then he said something like at the right time. So when the pitcher's saying that he thinks it's going to come and he's optimistic and all that, like, then I'm going to be very optimistic that an extension is going to happen. So that's what we got going. Musgrove on the mound tonight. He's coming off that All-Star game inning, that third inning that he pitched, where he only allowed one base runner. He walked Ohtani, but he struck out two guys. I think it was Alejandro Kirk of the Blue Jays, and then he struck out Aaron Judge to end the inning. Got a weak liner. Or maybe that was Kirk that he got the weak liner. He struck out the first guy that he faced in that third inning. I'm blanking out on who that was. But, yeah, Musgrove, you got to expect a quality start. Got to expect 6-7 innings, 1 run, 2 runs, maybe even no runs. I know his last start out, he gave up 5 earned runs, but he was pitching in Colorado. That made that's a difference. And his ERA is now at 2.42. It was at 2.09 heading into his last start, July 13th. I know he's pitching in New York, and that's different from Petco, but that's still better than Colorado. And I know the Mets lineup is tough, but the Rockies lineup seems to have the Padres number more than the Mets do, if that makes sense. So every start that he's had this year, except July 13th, has been at least 6 innings. Looking at his game logs, he's gone a lot of 7-inning starts. He went 8 innings against Milwaukee earlier this year. So I think it would be dumb to expect him to not go 6 or 7 innings just based on the way he's pitched this year. And so I'll keep you updated on the Musgrove extension and all of that. I'll get to the chat. Don't worry. Questions, comments. I just wanted to get through my pregame portion of this. For Carlos Carrasco in his last start, that was July 14th. He went 6 innings, didn't give up any runs, walked 2 guys, struck out 6. That was at Wrigley against Chicago. And then the 2 starts before that, he combined to allow 3 runs. So this month, the month of July, he's been pitching really, really well. There have been some, well, not just some, there's been actually a good amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 outings where he's allowed at least 4 runs this year. So he is gettable. And the Padres offense, we'll see what they can do. They haven't been able – I think the last 2 games, I saw in AC's newsletter this morning that the Padres offense is 0 for 14 these last 2 games in this Mets series with runners in scoring position. But they've been able to hit the home run, right? They have been able to hit the long ball. And that's not really something that they've been doing this year. They're like 6th worst in the league in home runs. So if they're hitting home runs, if they can continue to hit home runs tonight, then they maybe don't have to execute, with those runners in scoring position. Obviously, you want that to happen. You want guys to, come through when there's runners in scoring position. And they're not going to be able to sustain this if they're not driving in guys when guys are in scoring position and squandering those opportunities. But hitting home runs, obviously, that helps you, and that can cover up that problem. Preller's still going to be searching for that problem. We got how many days now till the trade deadline? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 days or something till the trade deadline, August 2nd. So he's going to be working the phones a lot, pretty much all day. And then, so we talked about Carrasco lineups. That's what we should get to. The Mets facing Musgrove tonight. Daniel Vogelbach, who was just acquired by the Mets from the Pirates, he's going to be in the lineup tonight, DHing for the Mets. So it'll be Brandon Nimmo leading off. He's in center. Starling Marte is hitting second. He's in right field. Then Lindor's hitting third at shortstop. Pete Alonso's hitting cleanup and playing first base. Jeff McNeil is playing second base, and he's hitting fifth. Vogelbach's DHing. Canna is in left. He's batting seventh. Guillorme's at third, batting eighth. Nito's catching, batting ninth. Mark Canna, I did see this somewhere. I think it was like Andrew Marchand in the New York Post. He does sports media or covers it. I think he said that ESPN is going to have Mark Canna on the broadcast. I know Padres fans probably don't care, but I just wanted to note it for anyone that's going to be watching the ESPN broadcast today. I think Mark Canna, the left fielder for the Mets, they're going to be talking to him, in, I think, the third inning. So if you don't want to listen to that, you can turn on the radio then. But usually during the Sunday night game, they're talking to a player while he's in the field, and I think Canna is the guy that ESPN's picking tonight. So that's going on with the Mets and the ESPN broadcast. It's Carl Ravage, Eduardo Perez. I think those are the two that are doing the broadcast, with Buster Olney reporting, being the dugout reporter, and then David Cohn usually does it, but I think he just had surgery for something. So I'm not so sure if he's there or not. I know he wasn't there during the Derby, and he wasn't there on, what was that, Thursday or something, during the Dodger Giant game at Dodger Stadium. So I don't know if he's going to be back. I doubt it. Padres lineup today. Profar's leading off in left. Crony's hitting second, playing second. Manny's at third, batting third. Nomar's in right, batting fourth. Voigt's DHing, batting fifth. Hosmer's at first, batting sixth. Nola is catching, batting seventh. Hassan Kim is at short, batting eighth. And Estier Ruiz is in center field, batting ninth. So no Trent Grisham tonight. Bob Melvin said something about that. I was not watching the entire game last night because I was on a flight to Minnesota to see some family. So I don't know really what happened with Trent Grisham. I think I saw in AC's newsletter that he dove for a ball and maybe his back's hurting. But Bomel, I think he said in the newsletter that he's just giving Grisham a day off, but he's not expecting it to be long term. So that's why Grisham's not in the lineup. It's just a day off for him to rest whatever injury he had. And so Ruiz is playing center, batting ninth. So no Abrams. He's still dealing with the bicep soreness. I know a lot of fans got worked up about that yesterday. Okay, Sky says Grisham fell running to first, colliding with the pitcher. Okay. Oh, wow. That's kind of nasty. So they're just being precautionary with that then, is what that seems like. And what was I talking about? What was I just going to be talking about? Abrams, the bicep soreness. There were a lot of fans that overreacted because they saw Abrams got scratched from the lineup yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, does this mean he's going to be traded for Juan Soto?" And no, I knew he wasn't going to be traded, or at least inside I thought he wasn't going to be traded because it's July 24th. I think the Nats would be stupid to trade Juan Soto right now. Like, they have the leverage right now from teams and just fielding offers. Like, they don't have to trade him right now, and they're 9 days out. So why would they trade him this early when maybe they could get a team get more desperate? Maybe there's an injury a week from now and a team gets really desperate, and they'll give you another prospect or another player with low service time, So I'd never thought that Abrams was getting traded yesterday when he was scratched. And so some people were like, bicep soreness, sure. Bicep soreness from packing his bags to go to Washington. Thought that was kind of funny. But no, Abrams, he's not been traded. No trade has gone down. As I know of, it is just bicep soreness. And he didn't throw during the All-Star break, and he threw yesterday, and maybe he strained something then. I have no idea. But or not yesterday. He threw. I meant Friday was when he first threw again, and maybe something got irritated then. My Padre pick today, I'm going to go Nomar Mazara. Or excuse me, no, that was yesterday. My bad. He went 0 for 3 yesterday, so I'm 56 and 34 this season in my Padre pick. Today I'm going to go with Jerks and Profar. I looked at the matchups, and Profar is hitting 625 off of Carrasco in his career. So I definitely, that was an easy choice for me. I know that, well, no, Profar is leading off. My bad. I was about to say he's at the bottom of the order because I did pick Mazara yesterday, and he wasn't leading off. He was lower in the order. No, Profar is leading off, so he's going to get the most at-bats. And I love his track record. I know it's a small one, but I love his track record against Carrasco. And he's a switch hitter, so you're always going to have that opposite matchup regardless of who comes in the bullpen. So that's what we got going tonight. 4:08 is the first pitch. ESPN, Padres, Mets. Padres get a Sunday night game. I think it's their second Sunday night game this year. Who was the first one? I'm trying to think who the first Sunday night game was. I'm blanking on that too. It wasn't the Dodgers. Was it the Braves? I forget. No, no, no. That was the Peacock game. Might have been the Braves. Wasn't it? Wasn't it at Petco this year? I don't know. I forget. But I think it's their second Sunday night game. They have another one in August at Dodger Stadium. So that's what we got going. All right. So here we go. Let's get through the comments, some questions here. I appreciate everyone joining live. The link will be up later, probably on the social medias. I forgot to put that out. All right. Marcos says, "How come you in Minnesota visiting family?" Um, Anthony says, "Will's probably getting traded." I don't. My gut reaction to that is I don't agree with that. I don't think he's going to get traded. I don't know why, unless it's like to the Cubs and like some salary dump. But I still think that's a low probability of happening. I just don't think a team is going to go want a outfielder that's getting paid a lot of money. I know it's just this year, but he's still getting paid a lot of money, and he's not. He was underperforming when he was healthy, and now he's hurt. Like, who wants that? Unless you're getting an additional prospect from the Padres, that might appeal to a team like the Cubs. So maybe that could happen, but I don't see him going to like a contender or anything like that. I think it would just be a salary dump. And I personally don't see the Padres doing that. Marcos says, "I graduated from Grossmont High School a couple months ago." That's cool. So you're a year behind me. So I graduated not from Grossmont, but from Helix in 2021. So yeah, our schools were rivals. Let's see here. Irie says, "Will needs one last hurrah with San Diego. If anyone needs to finish strong on our team, it's him. Being that he's in a contract year, he's in the corner with that one because he's been injured all year." Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know like how motivated he is because it's a contract year. To be honest, I think that he's just motivated because it's his last year with the Padres, and I think he knows it's his last year with the Padres, and he doesn't want to leave without making a big impact on the team. Like, yeah, he made the All-Star game in 2016, 2020. He had that big two home run game, right? Game 2, I think, of the wild card series against the Cardinals, and he had a good 2020 regular season. But other than that, I mean, it's been a lot of strikeouts. Uh, Obviously things get brought up like the Carlos Asuaje thing, and in September, dude, when he was caught on video doing that, about complaining about Andy Green doing relays in September. He just hasn't had like that all-star, like, obviously he's only made one all-star team here, but he hasn't had that huge impact that he probably should have had with the Padres with the $83 million contract that they gave him. So I think he just wants to come back to try to go win something. Obviously that would come with earning a lot of money or maybe not a lot of money because it's probably going to be a 1-year deal after this year. But yeah, he'd earn a good paycheck next year if he could finish off well. But he's set. He already has over $80 million just in this contract, a Rookie of the Year, an All-Star game. I think he's just motivated to get back and try to help this team win because I still think he is a pretty good fan favorite. Like, there was that story when he was with like Elsinore rehabbing a couple weeks ago, and he was signing and talking to every fan that came up to him. Like, he's a pretty good dude with the fans, and I think he just wants to win one for the Padres and win one for the city of San Diego. To be honest, Iris says Blake Snell's second half career stats is monstrous. Is it? Yeah. I mean, I guess I could look that up right now. Hang on. I was at the airport, so I wasn't catching the whole game, but they did have a graphic up where like his numbers are totally different. Maybe that was the first second half split. I don't know. Let me look in his career. Career splits. Yeah, so I mean, in his career, first half opponents have a 700 OPS against him, and then the second half of seasons in his career, opponents have 618 OPS against him. So that's not a huge gap. He has a lot less innings pitched in the second half than he does in the first half in his career. His ERA is 2.77 in the second half of seasons in his career, and in the first half it's 4.05. But he's played like 25 more games, or appeared in 25 more games in the first half than second halves in his career. You also got to remember last month, right at Dodger Stadium, he uh, had the groin injury, so he missed a couple starts at the end of the year there. And with the Rays, he wasn't pitching a lot of innings as well. Rocket Dog says he's heard a rumor that Tatis is going to Lake Elsinore on a rehab assignment. Fairly soon. I mean, I would think that he's going to come back sometime early August. At least that's what I'm hoping. So yeah, if he's going to go on a rehab assignment, maybe they want him to go to Elsinore and not El Paso, just because it's like 1 or 2 days, like a Profar rehab assignment. If they're really that confident in how Fernando's feeling, maybe they go that route and say, hey, Fernando, just get a couple games there, and then you drive back to Petco, and we'll put you right in the lineup. Maybe they do that. Maybe they do that after having a good amount of at bats, those live simulated at bats, right, where he's facing like Drew Pomerantz in live BP. Maybe they do that. So I didn't hear that rumor, but yeah, that could, I think, happen. I personally don't think that it's going to take Fernando like 2 weeks to get timing down on a rehab assignment. I think you're just wasting time with that. Irie says, I don't know if you heard this yesterday, but with the work you put into your channel, you should have 5,000 subscribers by now, Ben. I appreciate that. I really do. And that's a good place to remind you guys. So I'm over 1,000 subscribers now on YouTube. I appreciate it. Couldn't happen without you guys. And if you want to support the channel, I believe in the comments there's that $sign, and you click that, and that's the super chats. You can send in a super chat, and I'll definitely show all of those. Anthony, I think it was yesterday, or was it yesterday? The day before yesterday, he gave me a super chat of like $100. I don't get all of that money, but I really do appreciate it. I'm still, waiting to get like verified on YouTube and stuff, like so that so I could actually get paid. But I appreciate that kind comment, and I appreciate all of you guys hanging around talking Padres baseball with me. Greg asks, any new news on Soto? No, not any new news. Yeah, Greg. The latest on that was Ken Rosenthal's report yesterday. Buster Olney said on Thursday before the Dodger-Giant game that I think the Padres were the first team that he mentioned in teams that might be able to get Soto. But Ken Rosenthal said on FS1 yesterday on the pregame show that the Nationals are not negotiating, and they're looking for 4 to 5 top young players, which those 4 to 5 young players will consist of a combination of prospects, which the Padres have, top prospects like Robert Hass III, James Wood, Jackson Merrill, if they're interested in him. And then also major leaguers with low service time. The Padres also have that. Grisham, if they want him, if they're interested in him. Mackenzie Gore, and then obviously C.J. Abrams, right? I think that's the Padres. I think they're the most appealing team to the Nationals, but I've also heard reports where the Nationals, they're not just looking and they're going to take the best offer. Like Mike Rizzo, he's interested in like specific players, and so maybe he's not interested in any of the Padres prospects. Now, what I would say to that is, how can you not be interested in C.J. Abrams or Mackenzie Gore, right, and add him to your rotation for the next 5 years after this year? How can you not be interested in James Wood or Robert Hass III, who just played in the Futures game, right, and have him replace Juan Soto if you know that Soto's not going to be with your team and he doesn't want the $440 million or the next offer that they're trying to give him? I think there was a report there that they're going to try one more time with an extension offer, and if he doesn't take it, then they will trade him. I think that if I was Mike Rizzo, I'd definitely be interested in the Padres package, and they're going to get a lot of packages Mike Rizzo is, they're going to get a lot of packages presented to them because everyone wants Juan Soto, right? He's being compared to Ted Williams and Babe Ruth. But I think Mike Rizzo, he probably has his eyes on specific players based on reports that I've seen. All right. I got to scroll up here trying to see these comments. Pismo 16 or 61 asks, when do you think all these trades will happen? I think Soto, I think the Nationals are going to try to milk that out as long as they can. I don't think it would be smart for the Nationals to trade Soto right now just because they have the leverage. I know teams are going to say, hey, Soto doesn't want to be there. We have the leverage. But the Nationals are like, no, no, no. Preller, if Preller comes to them, I have the Dodgers over here that can up their offer if you don't offer or up your offer. Or they can say, we have Juan Soto for the next 2 years after this year. We can talk again in the offseason. Your offer isn't good enough. So I think the Nationals have the leverage. I think that a team might get desperate. Injuries could happen, like I mentioned earlier. So I just don't think it would really be that smart for the Nationals to be trading him right now. So if Soto is traded, I think it's going to be a couple days before the deadline. I don't think it would happen on deadline day because I think both teams, to be honest, would just want to get that Soto thing done because that's their main focus. And then the Nationals on deadline day or whatever, they can go trade Josh Bell or whoever they want to trade. As for like Contreras and all that, that could happen at any time. The draft's over, so all these teams' focuses right now are on these trades, on potential trades, and I'm sure Preller's on the phone right now with someone. So it could really happen at any time. I don't have like a definite answer for it because we saw last year with Adam Frazier, they traded for him like a week before the deadline, and then they made a couple deadline day moves where they went and acquired. Yes, those guys didn't fit the team. Adam Frazier, Daniel Hudson, right? Going over the luxury tax for Daniel Hudson, that didn't make sense. Jake Marisnick didn't make sense. So those moves weren't great moves, but they happened on deadline day. And Frazier happened a week before. So with Preller, it can really be any time. I forget when the Clevenger deal happened. I don't know if that was deadline. It might have been deadline day. Yeah, it actually might have been. So it could happen really any time. Just trying to go through the comments here. Matt says Padres versus Dodgers in the World Series. You heard it here first. Well, maybe an MLB The Show or something because that can't happen. I know you're joking, but yeah, the National League Championship Series. Well, that probably wouldn't even happen because the Dodgers are leading the NL West, and the Padres would probably face like the Braves in the first round, and then they'd have to face the Dodgers probably in the division series. So it'd probably be like the NLDS is one that would happen. But no, they can't. They can't match up in the World Series because they're in the National League together. Zach asks, "Are you high on giving up prospects for a rental like Contreras? I think Alfaro hits enough as is, and we would be better off getting a power hitting outfielder like Drury or Soto." Well, yeah, we'd be. I mean, thanks, Sherlock. We'd be better off getting Soto over Contreras, yeah, because you don't have Contreras for more than one pennant race. You'd have Soto for three, and Soto's a better hitter than Contreras. He's a better player than Contreras. I would still give up like a Jackson Merrill or definitely like a Campusano. I'd give up a top prospect, Luis Campusano, in a rental for Contreras because I think Contreras is a better player than Campusano. Or excuse me, yeah, I think Contreras is a better player than Campusano is, and Contreras is going to impact the team immediately where Campusano is not even playing on the major league team. And right now, I'm trying to win right now. I don't think the Padres are going to have a better chance to win than any time other than like this year. So, yeah, I think that I would give up a rental for Contreras. You're trying to win right now. With this rotation, I just don't know when you're going to have a better chance to go for it. So, yeah, I would give up a rental. If they don't get Contreras and they get Soto, I'm going to be happy. They still have Alfaro. And you get, in a worst case scenario, you add Soto, you have Tatis coming back, that lengthens your lineup. Now you can put your catcher like seventh instead of trying to put him like fifth if you want, if you need to with Alfaro sometimes this year because you just don't have power. Adam says the Nats have to trade Soto before their new owners come into play in a few weeks. Can't throw the Soto drama on the new owner. Soto will be dealt. I don't know. I don't think they have to trade Soto before the new owners, to be honest, because I think some of the new owners want to have Juan Soto on the team. Or if they don't want Juan Soto on the team, they want to trade him for players that they want and not necessarily players that the current existing owners approved to be traded for. I think they want to control who they get back, what team they trade Soto to. And so I don't really know if they have to trade Soto, to be honest. That actually might be something that holds the trade up, if I'm being honest. DVD Pass says, will the Nationals get more for Soto at the deadline or if they wait till the offseason? They'd get more at the deadline, I think, because teams, one, they're going to be desperate. And then two, the team that's getting him would be getting him for 3 pennant races instead of 2 pennant races. If a team's going to trade for him in the offseason, they only get him for 2 pennant races. That's not going to give the Nationals as much value back because Soto is a very impactful player. So 3 pennant races is going to get more value back. So, yeah, this year I think they'd get more back in a trade. All right, I think that's going to do it for the pregame show today, July 24th. Padres Mets, 4:08 is the first pitch on the West Coast. The game is in New York, obviously. Joe Musgrove on the mound, Carlos Carrasco for the Mets. I'll be back tonight sometime with a serious reaction episode, and so feel free to join me then. And if you want to support the channel then, feel free to drop a super chat in during that live stream. All right, so that'll do it. Enjoy the game tonight. See you, everybody.